Hey everyone, it's your girl, Pajama, with Pajama Life, and it's the dynamic duo today. And we have got some very different and interesting movies and our best cinematography reaction. So we are going to watch Reacher, talk about Reacher, and The Kitchen for our Black History Month celebration. So with me is the guru of all things Marvel and Tolkien. Say hello to Patrick. Say hey.
Hey everybody, glad you can make it here. Hopefully everybody is doing well, and look forward to talking about some of the stuff we watched.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting kickoff to our Oscar season as well. But first, let's get started with Reacher. Let's take a peek. Oh, wait, The Kitchen. Is it The Kitchen? Let's say The Kitchen first.
Yo. Good morning. This is the Lord Kitchen, live and direct.
I'm getting out of this place.
It's all home.
Saving myself.
So where do you live?
Kitchen.
You say it by yourself. What's your name?
I haven't got anywhere else to go.
Your CT.
Go.
What's happening?
You want to know what it's like, right?
This is war.
My mum, she said you never loved her.
Patrick, what did you think of The Kitchen?
Well, I was unaware of it until you suggested we watch it, and I felt that it was a lot of style, but not enough substance. To be honest, I just didn't feel connected to any of the people. It felt very detached, very slow moving ish. I mean, it looked gorgeous. There was some really interesting cinematography, lots of cool lighting, and a lot of artsy types of shots and stuff. Thought it was a real nice looking movie. It just didn't really. I found myself not caring too much. You know what I mean? Because I didn't feel any connection. I didn't feel them building any connection between the viewers and the people. I mean, it was interesting, and it was an interesting take on perhaps where life is going. Where everybody just owns it. You can't own your own property, or it just felt really weird. But I liked the way it looked.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I didn't feel wasted. It just didn't grab me the way I would wished it would have. So yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
It was bad. The story was just something that, like you said, I could not connect to. I didn't like, the characters. I just couldn't feel for them. Usually, I love dystopian kind of movies. And, their kind of prediction of the future. But usually there's a glimmer of hope. And this was just hopeless to me. So I just didn't like that. And you're right, it does have a really great look to it. And I love the Kitchener character.
Yeah.
And the music is fantastic in this. But I wanted to like it a lot more because Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out is executive producer of this, and he may have had some other roles in it. So I was expecting something something more interesting and hopeful, but nah, that's not what you get. The final shot is like the freak. I was mad. So it's a no for me on the kitchen. But yes, on the Kitchener. Watch something else.
Some of the things were kind of interesting. Like I said, the ideas of the way the funeraries services had changed over that time period, where that was interesting. There were some interesting bits in it, but it wasn't enough to keep. I mean, I didn't feel any, like you said, didn't feel any connection to the characters. I mean, they were just too detached and too, broody silence is good in a point, but man, it just does not drag you into the show. I'm just saying.
Right, and just selfish on the level of sociopathic selfishness. So I was like, man, whatever, dude. So yeah, go watch They Clone Tyrone for a better time. I want more of that movie. All right, next up is the big man himself, Reacher, season 2. Let's take a peek.
You refer to these special investigators as your team, your soldiers, even your friends. Calvin Franz was murdered.
He was calling you for help. He may have been trying to get in touch with the rest of the unit.
I called O'Donnell, Dixon, Sanchez, and Orozco. No one's answering.
Paid off the concierge. The ID Neely is checking in.
Just keep an eye on that hotel. And them.
And now they're all in trouble.
Surveillance photos don't do you justice.
Looks like you had a rough night. Looks like you had a rough night.
Had worse. But they took a run at us in broad daylight. They're getting desperate.
It's like the good old days.
Yeah, you on the sidelines while I do all the work.
Wait! Who are you?
Someone who prefers not getting involved.
Okay, Pat, what did you think?
I hadn't watched it until you suggested it, and I started with season 2. I like this, to be honest. I was expecting not to like it because of that horrible.
I suggested it.
because the horrible Tom Cruise version way back when, and I have not read the books, but from everything I have read, that Tom Cruise didn't physically fit the character of Jack Reacher, whereas the actor now who is playing him, wow, yeah, he fills a room. I mean, he really grabs a lot of attention. And I did a little, deep dive, stupid, internet surfing while I'm watching this, and he's got his start on American Idol. He can sing, apparently.
Oh, my goodness.
I know, right?
What season? I've got to go
I
back.
can't remember. I don't. He didn't make. He made it to Hollywood, but he didn't make it through the cut of 28 or whatever the heck they do with that.
Wow.
But he can apparently sing, and I was like, well, color me surprised. I was just surprised.
I mean, that's kind of unfair in life. He's tall, fine as shit, got a body for ages, and can sing. Man, that is now all he has to do is dance, and he'll be the triple threat.
And there's some, there's obviously the unbelievability of a lot of the combat, where we're having, bulletproof or bullet resistant people that just, skate through bullets and, kill everybody. Yeah. But yet he's such a big guy, he can still buy clothes off the rack in the convenience store. There
Not
ain't
even
nothing
the
in there.
store, the thrift store.
Well, maybe the thrift store. I could
that
maybe
look
buy
tailored.
I could buy a thrift store, maybe, because people give away stuff that your fat uncle who passed, gave you or something, and he's just a huge man, but just going into the thrift store, like there's one scene where he's in a convenience store and he just picks up a shirt and says, "Time to change clothes," and I'm like, and me and my wife were like, yeah, he ain't buying stuff just off the rack there next to the cash register. There's nothing that fits him. Even if it fits him across the shoulders, it's going to be too short because the dude's monstrous.
Right.
No,
He's
I mean,
like
it was,
6'8",
there was definitely a suspension of disbelief throughout it. Although there were some really nifty little side jokes. I don't know if everybody caught them. Like Robert Patrick is in this, and he's a big baddie surprise, and you could just see that in the little bits of the trailer you just showed. And there's a point when he's like, when they checked into a hotel room, and they said, and the guy says, well, Roberto Clemente, and he goes, well, that's a baseball player, and the guy says, and Sarah Connor, and he goes, well, that just sounds like a made up name. And I'm like, oh my god, that's hilarious, because that was he was the original T2. So I was like, so I was just like, perfect. Oh, that was a chef's kiss to the people who are deep diving on the weird knowledge. But I did enjoy it, and I'm probably I will finish the second season, and I'll probably go back and try to watch the first season, because he really does have a good brawny guy next door feel to him, but just kind of doesn't talk a lot, but really says a lot. So enjoyed it. I recommend it.
And this guy is extremely charismatic. So, I'm looking for him to do a lot more movies. He could be, the next Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's certainly got the physique and the height Arnold wish he had, but he's actually a really good actor. And the action scenes, for him to be such a big guy, those action scenes were really great with him. And I was 100% with it until the airplane scene, and then I was like, man, come on now, you're gonna hold 100-pound striker stretcher with 120-pound woman in the air with one hand holding the airplane. I was like, now you come on. He's not that big. I mean, that's some Terminator shit right there. But I thought that, I was like, okay, though. I really like the Neely character. She's very interesting. And it's so refreshing to see a male and a female be actual friends and not have like some kind of will they or won't they kind of.
Well, I guess I'll continue talking since Pam has dipped out for a second there. Yeah, it was really good. Enjoyed it a lot. The suspension of disbelief has to happen in any of these. It didn't feel like a cop movie. It felt much more like a espionage, kind of like some of the better parts, but the ridiculousness.
Okay, sorry about that. I hit something, but I'm back. But nice to have a man and a woman just be friends, and like really deep friends who've been through some stuff together, but it's not sexualized. So that was super cool to see. And all of the everybody just did a good job in this. And it was a really great story. It's based on the Lee Child Reacher books. I had to look up what it is, but really,
so many books.
I'm sorry, yeah.
He's got so many books. I looked and I was like, where do I start? I'm like, okay, I can't.
Yeah. The first one is pretty good. I read, I think, a couple of his books, and they are really good. And so it's a nice kind of mystery thriller, psychological thriller kind of stuff going on. So definitely this one is an A+. But I'd have one complaint, that now Prime has stuck commercials into the viewing unless you pay even more money, which they said they never were going to do. So, Bezos can suck it for jacking up Amazon Prime Video. You suck, Bezos, for making us pay, you trillionaire. Okay, that's my rant on that. If I'm not here next week, it's Bezos. He did it. All right. Now, let's get to our Oscar categories. And our first category is Best Cinematography. I know I love this category. And we have El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. I don't think you can see it, but it's Poor Things. All right. Let's talk about them, what you liked about the movies, and what you think is a prediction on which one will win, and maybe which one you didn't care for the nomination, or what should have been nominated instead of one of them. Pat, what did you like about the picks this time?
Well, okay, there's two of them I have not seen yet.
Okay.
I haven't seen El Conde or Maestro.
Oh, okay.
I did enjoy. I mean, Oppenheimer was very barren and gorgeous. I mean, it was well done. So, I mean, Christopher Nolan knows what he's doing. I mean, everything he's ever done looks good. I would also say the same about Scorsese with, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Really?
No, I think everything he's done has been pretty darn good. So, I mean, I can't point to much that I did not like of his. His stuff is good, and I thought this movie was a great movie, but I didn't think it was that spectacular on the cinematography end.
Right.
I mean, if anything, if it was spectacular, it was because it was so seamless and it didn't stand out as like, oh my God, look how beautiful that is. Whereas, sometimes some cinematography nominees are just, oh my gosh, it's a movie about Pandora, when we did Avatar, because it was just ridiculous, gorgeous, made up stuff, and it was designed to be beautiful and decided to be eye candy. I thought Oppenheimer, though, was one out of those that I really, really loved a lot, just because the scope of it, the way he shot it, and it felt like it was very subdued, which was very appropriate for the subject matter.
Yeah.
It wasn't too flashy, but it was really well done. And like I said, Christopher Nolan doesn't do a lot of stuff that's terrible. So I like that one the best out of it. Snubs, I don't think that I had any that really stuck out and said, man, this should have been it, and it wasn't. So,
oh, but can I come back to snub? Well, let me talk about which one was my favorite. Oppenheimer. They had a couple of scenes. I think the scene where he was imagining the bomb, and it was just gorgeous. I mean, it was just in some of the scenes of him thinking about the physics of it and the science of it. I mean, it was just so creative. I mean, Christopher Nolan has such a unique and creative eye that I just always am like, wow, this is really captivating me. I just thought that was fantastic. And let's talk about snubs. And now, after seeing all of them, I just watched Maestro this morning and I went to see Poor Things. I feel that Asteroid City should have been on this list. It was so gorgeous to me. I mean, everything just was so lush and plummy, and the colors were so beautiful, and the gorgeousness of it. And Saltburn. I'm still coming back to Saltburn was in this category. The lighting and the look of it and the feel, what it made you feel was just incredible. And so for that not to get it, those two, and I watched, let's talk about snub. I mean, let's talk about which ones we didn't like. I watched El Conde, and nah, son. I think I love black and white. And it was just, there were a couple of scenes in it that really were interesting when the vampire is flying over the water and flying over the city. That was just cool, the way that was done and the look of it. But the black and white of it was kind of muddled and it wasn't sharp. And I was like, nah. And Killers of the Flower Moon, to me, should not have been nominated in this category. I just felt like it was okay cinematography. It wasn't special. Like, usually this category to me is always some of the most interesting special looking movies. And that was just like, okay. I mean, it ain't nothing I would like jump up and down like I have for some of the other ones. What do you think was
going back to Asteroid City after you talked about it? I agree it was an interesting looking movie. I don't know the cinematography was the right category for it to excel in. I would say art direction because it was really well put together. The color sequences, the costuming, all the art, everything about it was designed to create this postcard feel. This Southwest postcard feel to it, and I mean, it did a great job at that. I love it, but I mean, cinematography it was okay. It was good. It served its purpose, but I would say it was definitely much more of an art direction movie than a cinematography movie.
Didn't get that either. So it didn't get production designed or nothing. So that was a big loss. And looking at the movies, which one do you feel like is something that you think is going to win?
Out of this group, out of the ones I've seen, Oppenheimer. I mean, Oppenheimer, from everything from what I've seen of the nominated movies, and just based on the nomination totals, Oppenheimer has a pretty good chance of cleaning up a lot of things. Just by sheer numbers, and it was a gorgeous, well done movie, and Cillian Murphy is just a beast, and
looks so much like him. I mean,
I know, and that's he kind of did the method actor. I'm gonna lose weight and gray my hair up or whatever he's got to do to get himself to that look. And Christopher Nolan's always had a real soft spot for him because he's been in every single one of his movies.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he has been. I mean, well, maybe not one of the Batman ones, but he started out in the first Batman, Christopher Nolan. He was, he's been in, Inception. He was in all those wonderful movies.
Yeah.
But so I mean, they've got a long working relationship, and I just thought that I have a feeling Oppenheimer's going to win a lot of stuff.
I think it's well deserved too.
Oh yeah.
I was, went to the theater and saw it because on your recommendation, you're like, no, go see it in the theater. You got to see it. And I sat in there for 3 hours or whatever it was. But unlike Killers of the Flower Moon, I just was enraptured by the look and the feel of it and what it evoked by what the visuals you were seeing on screen. So I think that's what cinematography kind of does for you. It brings you in and makes you like go wow on something. So I'm surprised you haven't talked about Poor Things and the cinematography of Poor Things.
Well, I mean,
it's quirky.
I love the movie overall, but the cinematography is not what stood out to me about the look of it. I thought the storyline and I got to tell you, the acting, the storyline, it was just, we'll get to that. Though.
Yeah. I thought the look of it was interesting.
William Dafoe,
Yeah.
But that was makeup, though.
That was a snub. Now that I've seen it, I'm like, oh, that was a snub. But we'll talk about that one. But I thought the look of it evoked a fairy tale, which of course is kind of based on a story. But I'll talk about what I thought of the movie when we review it. But the look of it certainly is different and unique, and it does evoke that kind of wonder that the best cinematography movies to me.
It reminded me of a Terry Gilliam film, is what it reminded me of.
Oh, okay.
Like Time Bandits and Baron Munchausen. It had that feel, that feel the fantastical.
Yeah.
But I mean, cinematography was it was okay. I just didn't.
Okay.
I mean, some of the special effects. That was just me, though.
Yeah, but I think it's that's getting a lot of press, and I have to tell you about the conversation I had with a couple of young women in the movie when we discussed Poor Things, what they thought of it. So, but definitely, I think it's something interesting. I'm going to predict Oppenheimer. I just think that it should win, and I think it will win. So then we'll see when we get Oscar night is what? It was quick this year. It's March March 6th. I mean, it's like shorter this year, so it's only like a 6-week time between when they announced and when the Academy Award show is. So, and it's going to be on earlier at 7 instead of 8. So, West Coast get another hour. Now it'll be 4:00 for the West Coast to start watching it. I guess it's for all those early go to bed people. Yeah. Yes, since the Academy's getting so old, they want it to be on earlier. But yeah, that's our show this week. Next week, we'll continue with our Black History Month celebration with The Mill on Hulu, as well as The Brother's Son on Netflix. That's kind of our Lunar New Year movie. And Maestro. We'll be checking out the Leonard Bernstein biopic from, what's his name? Bradley Cooper, who wrote it, directed it, produced it. He tried to get all the Oscars. He starred in it.
Yep.
And so, Patrick, why don't you give us some final words for this week?
Well, everybody just go out and have a good time, watch movies, make sure you go to the movie theaters so they keep making good ones, and be safe out there.
Yeah, and if you don't want to go when there's a bunch of people going like me, go at a matinee, and then you can enjoy the movies and hear what's going on. But definitely come back next week, because we'll also be cheering on Chiefs, Super Bowl champs. I'm predicting the Chiefs. All right, we'll see you next time. Take care.